let's be honest. Georgia, if you get the best players in this state, you should be winning championships. Who said that? Kirby Smart. Just after being hired at Georgia, it was a Monday. It was a Monday, I think. I can't remember. Um, but we were all in this giant, um, like auditorium, I guess it was. And well, obviously we knew that Kirby had been hired as head coach. It was really the only person they looked at, and he comes in, and that there he was just after Bama had won the SEC championship, trying to go win the national championship in the college football playoff, and he was a lot younger then. I mean, that's the one thing about Kirby that looks to me he was a lot younger looking. His children were noticeably younger. But I still have images from that day. And he has essentially gotten the best players in the state. He has won national championships. And you should. You should. He knows what I know. I know that. And it's not complicated to understand that when you are, at Georgia and recruiting at the level that they are, that you're going to win national championships. I mean, you should at least. Now, it's not always a certainty that you will, but you should. And, that time at Georgia, that was tough, man. I mean, that was how do you explain? That was a different there was a lot of angst. You were letting go a legendary coach in Mark Richt, a guy who had done a lot for Georgia, and replacing him with a guy who was making less than he was. Mark was making $4 million a year at the time. Kirby came in making 3.5. There were so many there were so many opportunities that Georgia had and didn't take advantage of at the time. I mean, the recruiting was not where it needed to be under Mark. But, for Kirby, I'm going to show this one image. This was not that long after Georgia introduced Kirby as its head coach. It was about, I think it was probably not even 2 full years later. Yeah, it was exactly 2 full years later. This was one of the championship moments of that time. Now, the Dogs did not win the national championship that season. They lost in the last play of the game. But here's this shot from Dylan Weber at the Rose Bowl. And I've not shown that image a lot. But it's one of the great shots that we've gotten over time with Kirby. And that's his reaction as Sony Michel scores the game-winning touchdown against Oklahoma. And you see the team flying off of the sideline, just completely excited. The Rose Bowl logo, I mean, Dylan popped that one for sure. But they should win championships, and the recruiting matters a ton. All of it all adds up together. But in 16, well, this was actually in the winter of 15. It's important to remember that, it looked like Mark Richt was still going to be around. He was not yet named the head coach at Miami. It was a strange time, and that's not the way it is now. There's straight direction. Everybody knows where they're going. Pick up our 2023 preview. When you get Double Dogs, it comes in for free, so do that today. I don't know how much longer we're going to do that promo. But the link is down below. Kirby's, I think I was the first person to ask him a question that day. And, congratulated him on getting back to his alma mater. I knew it meant a lot to him. The question was what, and it took some time. It did take a little time for Georgia's athletic department and administration to fully understand. They were behind. I can't stress enough. And you want to take shots at Greg McGarity, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. That's one aspect of everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the university as a whole did not fully understand what football could mean at Georgia. They understood it to a particular degree, but the exponential growth of the athletic department, what came with the winning, the exposure, all those things, I don't think they really understood what was going on. And Kirby had just lived it at Alabama, and I had seen it personally at Clemson. At that moment they had not won the national championship yet, but I had seen how the winning for them, which they had not done much of for a while, they had really accelerated their brand nationally. And now you're seeing, Georgia was always an elite academic institution. Well, now that you're getting even more, spotlight on you. There's a reason why Georgia's winning these national championships. It's not just Kirby. It's the kids in the state. It's the momentum behind the program. You got to get it all right. And it's hard to do that. I mean, what Nick has done at Alabama isn't like Georgia. It doesn't have the resources that Georgia does. It doesn't have Atlanta. It doesn't have, the airport. It doesn't have the coast, the Atlantic coast, has ports. And it doesn't have, I can assure you, it doesn't have the infrastructure in terms of travel and moving things about the state. It's not the same thing. So what Nick's done, it doesn't have the same amount of people. It doesn't have the same amount of football players in terms of just pure volume. It's not as good. But what he's done has been amazing. And that to me, what you're seeing at Georgia, that should be happening. And what's not happening at Texas, that's a problem. That's their failure. That is a failure of imagination at Texas. Georgia's imagination has been broadened in a major way. I can't tell you how many times I've written about it, but I remember very specifically writing a story about the 2011 class and the Dream Team. Isaiah Crowell and Corey Moore and all these guys, David Andrews. That team could have, that class could have been even better. I mean, it could have been loaded up totally. And I think if Kirby and them had been there, they probably would. It probably would have happened. That's the difference. It's been the focus on recruiting. Let's be honest. If you have the best players in this state, you should be winning championships. He doesn't talk like that now. I don't think. I mean, man, I couldn't. I don't want to say. I can't remember the last time he said stuff like that. But when you've won, when you pocketed a couple of them, you it's real. It's a real thing. And Georgia should be winning championships. Am I the only person that says this now? Like, I've said it for a long time, but like, it's not putting Georgia down. It is an amazing accomplishment. Someone with my background should be successful. And I am. And like, that doesn't take away from success. But like, with everything with what I was given in life, physically, parents, the time at which I grew up, where I grew up, man, I should be successful. And people from Tucker that, they should be successful like I have been. And most of them are. Georgia should be successful. It is a economic powerhouse. It is, it has huge support in football. It should be successful in basketball and baseball in ways that it is not right now. Do not get me started on basketball. But Georgia should win at football. And it's because of the people. The state of Georgia is one of the most powerful, athletic and economic engines in the country, in the world, because of the people. It has great people. I've said this for a long, long time. And it has a lot of them. And there's no shortage of desire to play at Georgia. Stetson Bennett is a great example of that. Homegrown, right there, that guy. What if he's in love with Tennessee or South Carolina instead and goes there and works his way up and leads them to a national championship? You know, people were so heartbroken about, Trevor Lawrence going to Clemson or Deshaun going to Clemson. I mean, they just did a better job of recruiting them. That's what I think. And there was opportunity, to be honest, there was opportunity there for both of them too. I don't know if Trevor, I don't know if he would have started in 2018 at Georgia, to be honest, just straight up. Obviously, Justin was there too, but, those three players, Stetson, you have some really good quarterbacks come out of this state lately. And there should be. We are finally seeing all of the work of these community coaches, high school coaches. All of that is bubbling to the top, and you're seeing elite quarterback play from the state. And, now you're seeing elite players move to the state to take advantage of what is a great high school football, situation. There may be better high school football than in Georgia. I guess people always say Texas. I think Ohio's got really good, California. But, those states are a lot bigger than Georgia. Those states are significantly larger than Georgia, which goes back to my whole point. Why isn't Texas winning the national championship? Ohio State has come very close lately. But the problem was Kirby and his dogs got in the way.